There's no easy way out. I just wanna know there's no easy way out. No easy way out. I'm not asking for another chance.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the No Easy Way Out podcast. My name is Tony Nash, and we are coming to you as always from the Woodworth building in beautiful downtown Owasso, home to my company, AZ Business Solutions, where we help grow your brand from A to Z. I'm excited about my guest today. I'm joined by a fellow creative, a fellow sneakerhead, and someone that we've worked with quite a bit here over the last few years, and we're excited to. She's been on the podcast before, one of the first season one, where we were just figuring out how to podcast. But we're excited to have her back to talk about what she's up to today, and that is Nicole Jenrow. Nicole, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Good to have you back.
Good to be back. It's fun.
Yeah, how are things in Nicole world?
Busy.
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 Got a big expansion coming up, which we'll
Yes.
talk about today. And
Yes.
I'm excited to hear more about that. So you are the owner of Details and Daydreams Photography.
Yes.
Did I say all that
Yes.
properly? Correct?
You got it.
Okay, so tell our audience a little bit about you, and then we'll get into what Details and Daydreams is.
About me. My name is Nicole. I have been doing
Hi,
photography for 12 years now. 11. This is my 11th year in business. I call it my happy accident because it was definitely not what I went to school for. I went to school for marketing and was second shooting with another photographer. Well, I was helping her with the business side of things, and it just kind of happened. And I worked full time for 4 or 5 years and then quit that, and here we are.
Well, and let me just say, because I know you're not allowed to say it, but maybe you could, but I would like to say that you are a phenomenal photographer.
Well, thank you.
You did my son's senior pictures last year. You've done other things for us. You just have a real eye for it. I know you've worked with some pretty big clients. You got to work with University of Michigan football,
Yeah.
did an ESPN shoot
Yep.
last year, so that was really cool. But how we met was when we were kind of first starting out. We were just moved to the Armory, and we put out an ad was it for a social media position?
I don't even remember.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure this out last week. Someone was
Yeah.
like, "How did you and Tony meet?" And I was like, honestly, I couldn't tell you. I don't even remember. But yeah, I think that's what
I
it was.
put out an ad looking for a social media
Yeah.
expert or something. We were at that time, we're managing like almost 80 social media accounts.
Yep.
So like, we need help with this. And then we interviewed you, and you kind of had already been doing your business, but we were just exploring options,
Yeah.
what's out there. And
Midlife crisis. That was like my midlife crisis. We were like, do I need another job? I didn't need another job, but
we just make it look so fun.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
So yeah, we met, and then I realized I can't afford you. You're too good. So, but we determined that we'd have a good working relationship,
sure.
and we've kind of been able to see each other's journeys along the way. We both have grown a lot over the last few years, our companies.
Yeah.
So it's exciting to see that happen, and it's always a good time working with you. So tell our audience a little bit about Details and Daydreams, the type of photography you do, and what you prefer to do.
Sure. I call myself a natural light and lifestyle photographer, but I shoot around 20 to 30 weddings a year. So with that comes engagements, and I literally shoot everything. Families, newborns. I know some photographers like to niche out and just do maternity and newborn or just do families, but my favorite part about this job is the relationship that I make with people. I'm at this point, I've been doing it so long that I have clients that I shot their senior pictures, and then I did their engagement pictures, and I've done their wedding, and then I've shot their babies, and
Does that make you feel old?
yes. Yeah, especially now realizing how young some of these couples getting married are. I mean, I was young when I got married too, but I'm like, wee!
Yeah.
I've been in this, being in this industry for as long as I have, but that's the best part, is the relationship that I build and watching families literally grow and change, and kids coming back excited to see Miss Nicole, and it's truly the best part, is just the relationship and the friends that I've made doing this. I mean, it's been a really big blessing.
Yeah. So you prefer to do people photography then? I mean, do you do much product photography?
I do some. I have a few clients that I've done. Like there's another small business called Wildcrafted Essentials. She's like an organic skincare line. I've done all of her stuff. There's a few other small businesses that I've done stuff for, but people are my jam, I guess. Yeah.
So the ideal setup, like, is it a wedding? Is it a senior? Is it an engagement? Is it a product? Like, if you said, I just want to pick, you had to pick one. do you not want to say?
I don't think I could.
You know,
I
you
really
like it
don't
all?
think I could. I mean, I'll never stop shooting weddings. Like that's a thing that I'll never stop. Granted, I don't know that I can keep shooting 30 weddings a year because it's a lot.
That's a lot.
With the new
there's only
expansion-
52 weeks a
Yeah.
year, so that means like
Yeah.
most of the time you're shooting a
Yeah.
wedding.
And I mean, while yes, a wedding is one day, everything that goes into it before, during, and after is just
Oh, yeah.
a lot. So I'll never stop shooting weddings, but with the new studio coming, that's kind of where I want to be able to scale back a little bit and be able to focus on other things
Yeah, more.
And like I said, weddings will never go anywhere. There just probably won't be 30 a year.
Well, we shot one wedding, not photos, video.
Mm-hmm.
One wedding. It was for a friend. I think Zach shot a few for friends. But after we did one, I was like, we will never do another wedding like that. That is a full, long day.
It's a
and
whole
there's
different
so many
world.
moving parts.
Yeah.
And, you know, the bride is usually like, she knows in her mind what she wants, and then
Right.
she's hoping that you know, because if you don't, she's going to tell you.
Yep.
And we happened to work with a really great couple. They were nice, but man, it was hot, and I was just like,
Yeah.
who wants to do this?
I thrive in chaos.
Yeah.
And actually, I was having this conversation with a client. I wasn't able to shoot their wedding because I was unavailable, but I did their engagements and then all of their pictures after the fact. And we were talking about their wedding day experience. And while you're paying for pretty pictures, you're also paying for the experience and also the experience as a whole, but also my experience. Like at this point, I've been doing this for so long that I can anticipate exactly what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, where it's going to happen.
Right.
You know
when the sun's coming in,
right.
when it's going out.
And not only that, but like where to be and when, and what time we need to be here for what. And my sister and I, Haley, who's been second shooting weddings with me for 10 years, we're a well-oiled machine. And I'm proud to say that because I've seen other things happen and it's a hot mess. And it's just, while we're not wedding coordinators, we're basically day of wedding coordinators because we're the ones that are with you literally from start to finish. So
I mean, you've been to more weddings than most people, so.
Oh yeah, I've shot. I think we're over 300 now. So, which is why
That's
we've
a lot.
seen it all at
That
this
is a
point.
lot.
Yeah,
Seasoned veterans.
yeah.
So then I guess I would ask, who's your ideal customer? Like, who's the person that is looking to come find you?
That's tricky. I mean, I guess it's different for each area, but it's someone who truly values what photography is. I mean, there's a photographer for everybody. Like there's
a lot of photographers.
There's a lot of photographers out
Or
there.
Photographers.
Correct. Yes. I
Someone
mean,
with a camera.
Yes, but it's somebody who values it as an heirloom or as something that is going to be something for their archive, is what my father-in-law says. Like, even if you're not gonna hang it on the wall, it's still for the archive. It's still something for you to look back on. And somebody who values like those little moments. Like one of the biggest thing is I want to capture those moments that you don't realize you don't want to forget.
Right.
Especially with like, everybody's so fixated on having that perfect looking at the camera smiling image, which sure is great to hang on the wall, but when you have a 2 and a 4-year-old, that's not life.
Yeah.
Like that's not the chaos
The
that is
candid
life.
moments,
Right. And it's the
for
candid
sure.
moments of, trying to get them to smile and laugh and have their genuine smile, or, when they're at that 3 to 5-year-old stage where they have that lovely cheesy fake smile, trying to break them out of that to get into their like natural smile. But shooting lifestyle stuff of like capturing a family in their home, like in their actual element, and remembering little things like that. It's somebody who values those moments and memories, but also my work and what goes into it.
Yeah.
That's not, like I said, there's a photographer for everybody and there's a price point for everybody, but it's somebody who realizes what goes into it and values my work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, values excellent work. Yeah, I mean, when we got our senior pictures for our oldest son, obviously I've seen your work. We wanted some very specific, we had some really unique
So much fun.
ideas, and it was fun. He's a big sneakerhead. We knew you were a sneakerhead, so like, she's going to get why we want to take a picture with a million different sneakers in the background. She got it. So much fun to work with. And listen, I mean, not the most inexpensive photographer out there,
Sure.
but it was worth every penny.
Sure.
And so that's why I asked that question, is because I think, people ought to understand is when they work with an expert, we have really high-end cameras here. We could take photos ourselves.
Sure.
But we decide to hire an expert, someone that knows photography and knows
Right.
the ins and out of it. And there's lots of different types of photography.
Sure.
And there are people that have really nice smartphones that call themselves photographers. So there is a range, right?
Absolutely.
And you got to find what's best for you. But for us, we wanted to work with someone that really, really knew what they were going to be able to do and knock it out of the park. So what do you love most about photography? I know you said it wasn't what you said your accidental,
Yeah, it's my happy accident.
happy accident.
Yeah.
Said that wrong. But yeah, so What do you love about it?
So the fact that it's my creative outlet, like when COVID happened and I was stuck at home for weeks on end, at one point in life, like that sounded like a dream because I was just so busy that I wanted it. But after 2 days, I'm like, I don't know what to do with myself. I'm taking pictures of my kid. I like to have that creative outlet is huge for me. My brain, like being diagnosed with ADHD, and now that I'm medicated, I can stay on task, but also I need to be busy and creating and doing things. And like I said, I thrive in chaos. So like to just sit and do nothing. So the creative aspect of it, but also the personal connection that comes with each and every client, because everybody's so different. To go from, some of the more timid senior boys who are just doing this for mom,
right,
to the 2-year-old who needs you to say poop to make them smile, to, you know what I mean? So it's the personal connection, but also the creative outlet that, keeps me. But then also sitting down and editing to slow down and mellow out. It's literally the perfect.
Yeah, and to be able to be as busy as you are. I mean, I thought I was a hustler, but I follow you on Instagram, and you're always at a shoot, and then you're up till 3 a.m. editing. And you have to really love what you do, and that really, when we've worked with you, it comes through. Like, you really enjoy it. Never have we felt like, oh, I got another one of these shoots to do. You seem to really enjoy each one. And then the speed of the turnaround. I mean, you took, we'll just go back to Micah's senior pictures. You took those in an evening, and like that night we had like a dozen pictures to look at. Like, and they were fully edited. I'm like, holy cow, that's amazing.
I mean, after...
we had the whole package in like 2 days.
Yeah, that's kind of how I've built my business, is on my turnaround, but after doing this for so long, I've got my editing style kind of down to a science. What usually takes me the longest is going through however many images I took that night, but it's also more for my mental health.
Yeah.
If I'm doing 15 sessions a week and those build up 2 weeks in a row of 15 sessions and only getting so many done, knowing that I have that many sessions in the queue to edit, just, so when people ask when do you sleep, I usually say between 2 and 6 a.m. That's it. That's it. But
the life of an entrepreneur.
Yeah. But like I said,
when you love it, it doesn't seem like work. I mean, there are times where it's like, this is just work. But like for the majority of the time, if you love what you're doing,
for sure,
it's not that difficult to get through it. And
there are points where I'm like, oh, another shoot. And I'm like, nope, you can't do that. Like one, they don't deserve that. And two, like, this is like, you see people or hear people make the comment of like, you are where you dreamed of being 5 years ago. And that's exactly it. Like, I am far beyond where I ever could have imagined I'd be with this. And it's a true blessing to actually be doing this. So like, while it might seem like just another shoot, to them it's exciting and important, and it's something big for them. So I need to step outside of my little negative headspace I got going on and realize like
it's about them.
Yep.
Now, that's an interesting thing about entrepreneurship. I mean, it seems like so many people want to be an entrepreneur today, and I think it's the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
But everybody is not an entrepreneur.
No.
And when you have to have that extra gear of drive to push into, or that extra level, that next wind of energy to go, that's where the passion comes in. Like, if you're not passionate about what you're doing, there are a lot of ways to make money.
Yeah.
But if you're in something just to make money, it's going to get old. There's not enough money to make misery worth it.
Correct.
That's a good quote. There's not enough money to make misery worth it, right?
And I
just made it up, but I think it's good.
And it's spot on. But that's, I think, especially with this industry, cameras are so easily accessible now. Like, it's not that expensive to get, an entry level Canon camera. So for people to see, oh, that's easy money. Like, that's easy $100. Sure.
Right.
But then what? Like, I think that's a lot of the reason why a lot of people in this industry don't make it past that 5-year mark, because it either gets to be a lot and you can't keep up, or they start it just because like, oh, that's easy money.
Yeah. You get bored with it. Yeah. So, I mean, I think, if you're watching and you're considering entrepreneurship, I think it's the greatest thing in the world.
Absolutely.
But that's because I am an entrepreneur.
Right.
And I've seen a lot of people get into it that thought they wanted that and realized it, and that's okay too.
Sure.
But there is no such thing as easy money when it comes to being an entrepreneur.
No.
It's work. It's work. But when you're doing something you love, it doesn't seem like work.
Right.
Well, I know you've got a big expansion, so let's tell the audience about what's going on with Details and Daydreams today and the new expansion that's happening. What do you want people to know?
Working on a new studio. I'm in, I guess it's a Flushing address, but I'm between Flushing and Montrose, and we have 10 acres. So like 90% of my sessions outdoors are at my house. It's my favorite place to shoot. My husband has done a incredible job literally curating our yard
awesome.
to be.
He seems like a good sport. He's always building something new for you, helping you out with it. That's awesome.
I could not do this without, because my level of crazy sometimes is right out there, but he just rolls with it. And we talked about building a new studio this year, and then COVID happened and prices skyrocketed, and I was like, well, nope, never mind. And then this like new building came about, and within a matter of a month or two, we decided to do it, and he immediately jumped on board and has the few days that he does have off, he's been working on that for me, and it's been cold and it's been, you know, a lot of work, and I'm forever grateful. But he's curated our yard with planting wildflowers and planting sunflowers and, you know, planting trees and moving things around and helping me build Christmas sets. So he's truly helped, you know, curate our property to be exactly what I need it to be so I can shoot there. I know where light's good. I know what spots work at what times. Like, it's just, instead of going and wandering aimlessly around a park somewhere, I know how to do it and make it efficient. So that way, I mean, I tell people I shoot fast anyways, which you've experienced. That's just how I shoot, but most kids don't have more than 15 minutes in it, and honestly, most men don't either. Yeah. So usually those grumpy husbands who don't want to be there appreciate the 15 minutes of me knocking it out, and I'm still having 100 images to choose from. So it's just...
That's awesome. Well, you know, I think for me, I just lost my train of thought. I was thinking about something that you had said. Oh, I know what it was going to be. Your husband.
Yes.
I know social media is like a microcosm of someone's life, but it really seems to me, as a father of 3 girls, I also have 3 sons, he seems like a great dad. And it seems like your little girl just absolutely adores him. When I go to weddings, which is not my favorite thing to do, to be honest with you. Once you've been married for 20 years, like going to weddings is like, do we have to go to another one of these things? It just equals a gift, right?
Right, basically.
That's the lowest common denominator. But when I'm going to the wedding, like, most people are watching the bride. And since I was young, the first thing I look over at the dad.
Yep.
Because like I always think of the day I got to walk my daughter down the aisle is going to be brutal, no matter how much I like the guy. So I always look at the dad. So seeing how your husband interacts with your daughter, I just think it's really cool. They seem to be tight, and I like that.
It's he'll get home from work in the morning and she's before school. Let's wrestle, and that's just
he's always game.
Yeah, always. And
those moments go so quick.
They do. I mean, we were looking back on videos of her at like 2 years old the other day playing basketball in our living room, and it's just like, where did the time go? And I'll say that to clients. I'll shoot their newborn pictures and they'll come back for 1 year, and I'm like, fastest year of your life. And like, we have no idea where the year went. And I was like, welcome to being a parent.
Well, try having 6. I mean, because like you just miss things, you know, you can't keep up with all of them. But no, I really appreciate that. Well, one of the things we always do is we send a questionnaire ahead of time, you know, with lots of time in advance for you to answer these questions, really think through your answers. I think you got them yesterday. But just to kind of get to know a little bit about the person.
Sure.
You know, we see the entrepreneur, we see the social media presence, maybe someone watching has worked with you, and but maybe a lot of people don't know the person, Nicole, and so we're gonna do a deep dive here and get to know a little bit about you.
Okay, great.
So you do a lot of travel.
I do.
Mostly for shoots.
Right. Yeah.
It's a vacation, but it's like a work.
Camera's always there.
A workation. So I thought this was interesting. The favorite place you've ever been. There's a lot of places to choose from, but you said St. Lucia. So what do you love about St. Lucia?
St. Lucia was my very first destination wedding, and I will truly 100% say that I manifested the crap out of that trip. I made a vision board in February, maybe. I sat down and made this big list, and there was a specific picture of a couple standing like overlooking a cliff with the ocean. And I'd shot weddings out like different places, but never out of the country at this point. And I was literally in the grocery store and ran into a lady and was talking to her about her son's wedding. And they were getting married in May in St. Lucia, and they were trying to figure out the photographer situation. And long story short, I ended up booking my first destination wedding. And to be able to travel that far for my very first wedding into like this tiny little island where, you know, we flew into this tiny little airport and we were in the very back of the plane, and I'll never forget, they let us out the back down the stairs and we hit the ground and the guy said, "Welcome to paradise." And that's exactly what it was. Like, driving through this little island that's so underdeveloped, and just like seeing the way that they live, and then getting to this big pretty resort, but then
simple life.
Yeah, and then shooting a wedding and being able to do what I love and still being able to kind of make a mini vacation out of it. It was a blessing, and it was just, I mean, it was the place, but also the experience and what all came with it. And then from there, I've been Mexico, and I did a Disney wedding this year, and I'm going to Ireland next year. So that's just, I've
always wanted to go to Ireland. Well, we get to see the highlight reel. And
Sure. For
we don't
sure.
get to see you crammed in the back of a little Cessna puddle jumper
Yeah.
with your equipment
Correct.
all over you. So
Yeah.
there is some work involved.
Always,
There is
yeah.
some work involved, but it's nice work to do. And I think that's a reflection of the quality of work you provide. I mean, if someone's going to take on the expense of taking you along with them
Sure.
at this destination wedding, they know that you're going to deliver something,
Sure.
really high level. So a random fact about you, you said, this was an interesting one, you said you fell 20 feet out of a tree stand.
Yeah.
I often say, like, and I'm not really afraid of heights. I feel like the older I get, the more I am afraid of heights.
Sure.
I never used to be, but now, like, I step next to, I look over at the side of a building and I just, like, I get that queasy step. Never used to happen, but I always say, like, if I fall high, I want it to be high enough to kill me because I don't
Yeah.
want to just be in pain.
Yeah.
So 20 feet is pretty high.
Yeah.
So tell me how this happened.
It was opening weekend of deer season. It was 13 years ago now. And honestly, I fell, I fractured my pelvis into a whole bunch of pieces and
Ouch.
fractured my jaw. And while, yes, it was horrible for me, my husband was actually at the bottom of the tree and watched the whole thing happen. So I truly think it was worse for him. But
I doubt it.
if it wasn't, if it wasn't for his quick thinking, I'm not really sure what would have happened because we were a mile off the road, 100 yards up in the woods, very little cell signal at that point. So he
goodness.
thought fast. It was a whole thing. So we ended up being taken to, this happened up north, taken to one hospital, airlifted to another, had to really learn how to walk. It was, I mean, thankfully at that point I was, 20, 21, 20, I think, and I was in the best shape of my life. So I think that worked in my favor, but yeah, 10 out of 10 don't recommend.
Yeah, I
Not-
can imagine.
not ideal.
So, like, what kind of, you are like in a body cast or like what kind of?
No, they did
what
nothing.
Do they do for?
That was part of the problem. Hospital issues was they sent me to Hurley, and when I left, they sent me home with Vicodin, and that was it. And, like, the orthopedic doctor was like, please get another opinion, please. So then
Yeah.
it took us talking to my family doctor, who got me a referral to another doctor who referred me to the chief of orthopedic surgery at U of M. And he was like, well, we should do surgery, but everything's healed now in 3 weeks. So we'll have to re-break everything.
Yeah.
And so they said, well, we'll just, the only surgery I had was on my jaw because I had a mag light in my mouth when I fell. No, granted, let me say, I had a harness on. It wasn't hooked in yet. Like, I was just climbing up. It wasn't hooked in yet. But I had a mag light in my mouth, and that hit the climbing sticks. And so this part of my jaw, like, the first thing that I did, I hit the ground, and I was like, honey, my teeth, because they were, like, straight out. So I shoved those back in, and that's the only thing I had surgery on. And then
Goodness.
the only outward scar that I have is this tiny little scar right here. So this tattoo is for AJ, because if it weren't for him, who knows how long I would have laid.
Oh, well,
up
good job,
north.
AJ.
Yeah,
Way
seriously.
to act quickly. You saved your wife's
Yeah.
life. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was horrible for him.
Yeah.
I mean, I can imagine seeing my wife, I've had, whenever I've had things happen to me, it happens, you deal with it. But like when you see something happen to your child or to a loved one, it's always like so much more traumatic
for
because
sure.
you want to just take it from them.
Yep.
So I always like this question. Stranded on a desert island, you get one CD forever. We've had people try to cheat and say they want Spotify or whatever. You can't
Yeah,
do that, right?
no.
It's a CD. And you just put Miranda Lambert.
Literally any of her CDs
So
would
just
be fine.
is just like the best of Miranda Lambert? Is
Sure.
there a specific CD?
It could be any of them, because I could sing every single one of her songs with
But forever?
forever.
Like
Forever.
Miranda, she's got a good voice. There's a little twang.
It doesn't matter.
You know?
Forever. Literally, my sister and I went to her concert this summer, and it was probably my top 5 best days of my life. It was so much fun. I've seen her multiple times, but she's just one of those people that I can listen to over and over again. Now, you ask
You'd
my
have
kid.
to, yeah.
You ask my kid that question, it would be Dolly Parton all day long. So
Yeah.
if you can see where our music
Dolly's even
lies.
more twang.
Yeah.
Dolly's even more twang. All right, so totally irrational fear you have. You said of being late.
Well, that, yeah, that, and did I put flags down?
Oh, you did. Large flags. That was separate. Large flags
yeah,
and being late.
Yeah. So fun. This one was, I get made fun of this for all the time, but when I was little, we would go to the Bertrand outlets because I don't live far from there. And I'll never forget, there was one flag in the back by like Route 21 where it used to be. And this flag was so big, it was literally bigger than the parking lot. And seeing something that big up in the air just, I don't know. It literally has terrified me.
What are
and
you
now,
afraid is going to happen?
I have no idea,
It's
but it
gonna fall
literally
on you,
makes,
or-
it literally makes my skin crawl and just freaks me right out. So even now, my daughter will tease me about it because we'll go somewhere. She's like, "Mom, look how big that flag is," and I'm like, "Can we
Don't
not?"
make me look. Don't
yeah,
make me look.
can we not?
I've never heard that one.
Yeah, no, most people haven't. It's
there's
just-
probably not even a name for that fear.
Probably
We
not.
should make
It's-
something up.
Yeah. It's just something that big up in the air like that.
Flagophobia.
Just
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm nothing if not creative in my
Yeah, that's
random fears.
interesting.
But
That
also being late. If I'm not at least 10 minutes early, the amount of times that I will spend sitting in a parking lot or driving around a block before I get to somebody's house for a session, or like sitting in my studio for 15 minutes is hilarious.
Yeah, you texted me this morning that you were just sitting out in your car working. Just let me know when you want me to come up. And
Yeah.
I'm like, you can come up whatever. But it's funny because I have a totally irrational fear of being early, not necessarily being on time, but being early. And this is weird because like if we're late for something, my wife she's just stressed out.
Yeah.
Some of my kids are stressed out, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, it's fine. We're gonna get there. We'll make an entrance, you know. But when I feel stress, like it's when I know I'm gonna be there like 10 minutes early, and I feel like, what am I gonna do for that 10 minutes?
no
Like, am I gonna have to talk to
No.
a bunch of people? Like,
Yeah.
and I'm a people person, but or like I feel like, and I think this may be a reflection of having my schedule packed a little too tight.
Sure.
But I'm like, I'm wasting 10 minutes. I could be
Yeah.
working on something else, right? You know.
Yeah.
So like, I'm perpetually late for everything, which I realize is not a good thing. It's a character flaw. People said you don't value other people's time, and it's not as deep as that, really, folks. Like
Sure.
it's literally just like I'm worried that I'm wasting time.
Sure.
And that's probably like I said, a reflection. I need to loosen up the schedule a little bit. But all right, so favorite movie or TV show? You put that 70s show.
Yep.
I don't know if I've ever seen an episode of that.
I mean, it's not the most family-friendly show of all time, but like, it's just one of those shows that my husband and I've watched over and over. I mean, he has all the DVDs that we've watched where
Really?
they took it off TV, and now that it's on, is it on Peacock? I think that's where we watch it. But that's like
I mean, I like Ashton Kutcher. He's
Yeah.
funny. So
it's just one
I
of
just
those
don't
shows
know that
that
I've ever like thought to sit down and watch it.
it's just one of those shows that's like an easy watch, and it's hilarious. And like, no matter how many times I've seen the episodes, I still laugh. Like, that's my sister with Friends. She'll watch Friends every single day for the rest of her life, and I can't. She's like, I don't understand how you can't get into it. I'm like, well, I don't understand how you can't get to that 70s show.
Yeah.
So it's just
That's me with Seinfeld.
Sure.
Like, I mean, sometimes I'll be sitting in here working and I'll just throw Seinfeld
Yeah.
on, and I've seen every episode a million times, but I love the show. I
Yep.
think it's hilarious. And I could be that way with The Office as well, but Seinfeld is my go-to. Okay, if you had one last meal, what would you eat? You put nachos and mashed potatoes with champagne and caramel apples for dessert. I mean, this is a pregnant woman's dessert.
it's all
or
of my
meal.
favorite
What-
things at one time. It's just
Yeah, it doesn't. None of that goes together.
Sure it does.
Nachos and mashed potatoes.
I mean, why not?
I mean, the potatoes have gravy?
No, just butter.
Just butter.
I mean, they
mashed
could have
potatoes,
gravy, but I'd be fine with just
champagne.
butter. Champagne is my drink of choice. Like that's
Really?
I will drink champagne every day if I could. Call me bougie.
Certain brand. Cristal.
Nope.
You're going for the
I mean,
expensive
I'm
stuff.
not mad about the expensive stuff, but I will drink the 15 bottle of champagne all day long and not complain.
All right. And then a caramel apple. I love caramel apples, but this
Caramel
is just
in
such
general.
a. This is just a
Eclectic. Yeah.
eclectic
Yeah.
meal here. So one last meal. This is what you're ordering.
Yep.
You're getting ready to go on the electric chair tomorrow.
Yep.
And you're calling in nachos, mashed potatoes, caramel apple. Now, you ever been to a Kilwins?
Yeah.
Kilwins has this. It's a apple pie caramel apple.
Yep.
So you've had it?
I think I've had theirs. there's a local candy maker that's in New Lothrop. It's Mulcahy's, and they do like a ton of corporate stuff. But
Yeah.
she makes these their family's been doing candy for years, but they make caramel apples. And I will go to her house and pick them up, and I will order 4 of them, and I will not share. I will cut them up and
Really?
eat them by myself
I
in the
love
bathroom
caramel
if I
apples.
have to. I will not share.
But I don't like all caramel apples. But
Just
I do.
the apple pie ones. That's the only kind that I love.
Yeah, that's the only kind I love.
Yeah.
Like so, it's the caramel with the white chocolate over it, and then cinnamon sugar on it.
Yeah.
It's
Hers doesn't have the white chocolate. Hers is just caramel with the cinnamon sugar on the bottom, and
You got to try one with the white chocolate
I
too. It just,
I am a white chocolate
takes,
fiend. I do love white chocolate.
It takes it up a notch.
Yep.
It's no mashed potatoes and nachos, but
I
it's really,
mean-
really good. Any job in the world, the one you have, so that's
Yep.
pretty easy.
Yeah.
We knew that in the first 5 minutes
Yeah.
of talking to you today. If Hollywood made a movie about your life, who would you like to see cast you? You put Danielle Fishel.
Danielle Fishel.
Which I know who that is, but
Yeah.
let's tell the audience in case they don't know.
Boy Meets World. Topanga from Boy Meets World. The girl that plays Topanga. I used to get that all the time as a kid, that I looked just like her. And I actually
I can see it.
I sent a screenshot of this to my sister and said, help. Because I don't, like, a few of these questions, I was like, I don't even know how to answer. You know me better than I know me, so please help. And she answered that one instantly. I was like, yep.
What's Topanga up to today? Does anyone know?
Well, they did Girl Meets World. So they did a spin-off
really?
of Boy Meets World of, like, Topanga and Corey's daughter. And she was in that. And I think she's still been in some movies.
So they got married?
Yeah.
Did they get married in the show, like the original show? I used to watch that show a lot.
I think so. I think
Corey
they
and
got married at the
Topanga got
very
married?
end. Yeah.
Congratulations, Corey and Topanga. You should have hired Nicole to do your wedding photos. They would have been memorable. They would have been more memorable. All right. What is your proudest moment or achievement you put here?
So many things. You could.
Yeah, I'll just let you go through them.
I couldn't even pick. I don't even remember what I put down. I think being married for 12
Michigan
years.
football, Sports
Yep.
Illustrated.
Yep, shooting for Sports Illustrated. That was really this year. We got to shoot with JJ McCarthy, Andrew Anthony, and Donovan Edwards.
That was awesome.
It was amazing, and it was just the coolest experience in general to like see kids that you watch play football, especially on such a large scale. But to meet them and realize how like they're just kids.
They're
like
kids,
they're
babies.
just
Yeah.
kids. They're like. We put them on this big pedestal and like have all these things to say about how they play, but they're just kids and they were
Just got out
so
of high
down to
school.
earth. Yeah. So down to earth, just the sweetest souls. And it was just so great to like see them be interviewed, how they responded, how they reacted, and how they were with all of us it was a very cool experience. So that, being married for 12 years, I feel like is something I'm super proud of. I mean, especially being in the wedding industry. I had a really good run there.
So you said 12 years?
Yeah.
And your accident was 12?
13 years ago.
So you guys weren't married yet?
No, he was my fiance at the time.
He thought you might be an invalid, and he's still married. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. Just my business in general. I mean, being in this industry for this long, I'm super proud of because I've watched a lot of people come and go, and I've watched and it evolves and changes so much. So to be able to kind of still stay relevant, I guess, through
Absolutely.
all the changes.
We've only been here for 7 years, and we've seen photographers come and go. We've
Sure.
worked with a lot of different photographers, and we've seen, their life changes, seasons
Sure.
change, and they don't,
They let it go.
I don't want to say they don't stick with it. They
Yeah.
just move on to other things. But
Right.
to do anything, in business for 11 years is absolutely impressive, and you should be proud of that. And then, I like what you said about the Michigan football players. Like, we watch them on Saturday, and we're just yelling at the screen, and we're
Yeah.
like, why can't you run the ball? Why can't you pass
Right.
the ball? And like, they're just kids. Like,
They're
and
literally
to
just kids.
handle all that pressure
For sure.
in that huge stadium, it's pretty amazing.
For sure. And I mean, our family is a huge Michigan football fan. So like we have mostly positive things to say, but to then also go back to the social media side of things. And while for every, 5 good things, there's 50 bad things that people have to say. Like to
For sure.
There's just so much more to it than there ever used to be. And,
Absolutely.
it was just cool to see how humble and level-headed they still were despite it all, you know.
Social media has just made people so brave to say whatever they want to say.
Keyboard warriors.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't say brave, but you
Yeah,
know what
yeah.
I'm trying to say. So one wish besides unlimited wishes, you said to move to a big piece of land up north. I love it up north.
Yep.
It's amazing how many guests we have on here that talk about like either their favorite place they've ever been is northern Michigan
Yeah.
or a place they'd want to go. It really is a beautiful place
Yeah.
to be. Even this time of year, it's freezing up there, but
Yep.
it's really cool. But near the water with family, closest friends to raise our babes
Yeah, all of our kids.
and live freely.
Yeah. I mean,
Are there going to be more babes?
no.
No.
No more babes.
I mean, if you decide to have another babe,
Mm-hmm.
you have a free pass to have all the nachos and mashed potatoes
This
you
is
want.
true. I don't need a pass for that.
No, you just do it.
Yeah, I just do it. But yeah, I mean, there's our close friend group. There's my best friend Carly and Jordan and my sister. And if we could, just move up north somewhere and
Someday.
just not so much maybe live off the land, but not live off the land, but just,
Yeah. You still, because you can't get nachos off the land.
I mean, not
Or
necessarily, but
even caramel apples would be tough. You can get apples, but like if you
Yeah,
want to
I
add
mean-
these treats, you have to go off the land
yeah.
a little bit. You have to go to Meyer.
yeah, I'm not like full live on the land type situation, but like away from the nonsense
Where
and
you
all
don't
of
have to
the.
grow your own champagne.
Yes, correct.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
So, we talked about the Sports Illustrated. I said
Mm-hmm.
ESPN earlier. That's my bad. But Sports Illustrated. You said that we were talking earlier that one of your favorite pairs of Jordans that you brought, and we're going to talk about sneakers now because
Mm-hmm. Yes.
we're both sneakerheads. I asked
Yeah.
you to bring your 3 favorite pairs. I brought 5 because I couldn't narrow it down.
Understood. Your collection's a lot larger than mine.
We'll show. I've been collecting for a long time, but we'll show these off today. But you said one of these pairs is the first time you ever wore them was to the Sports
Was that
Illustrated
shoot? Yep. So that's what they'll forever be associated with.
So before we show our favorite sneakers to our audience,
Okay.
What do you love about sneakers?
There's one obviously comfort.
Yeah.
While I'm dressed up ish today, I'm either dressed up entirely for weddings or I'm in straight loungewear and leggings because I'm crawling around the floor taking pictures of babies and kids. So while I'm wearing black leggings and a black sweatshirt, I can still have my pop of color and fun and still show my personality with my shoes and still be comfortable. And they're just a statement. And I love that.
That's awesome. No, I've was a big basketball. I'm still a big basketball fan.
Sure.
Was a good player at one point. I can't play anymore. Now I coach. I have kids that play. But I've always liked Jordans. I wasn't even a big Michael Jordan fan when he played because, I was a Pistons fan. And if you were a Pistons fan, you hated Michael Jordan. But I always liked his sneakers. And I wore his sneakers when I played basketball. It's my kids now. Some of the sneakers that I wore to play basketball and just destroy them on the basketball. Like, you wore those? Like, you know how much those would be worth today? I'm like, yeah, I know. It's like when my dad told me he used to use his baseball cards for mufflers. Like those cards would be worth millions today or hundreds of thousands. And so I'm sure I had some shoes that would be incredibly valuable. But so I kind of got back into it though, because I have two sons that are really into basketball and into sneakers, and we're all the same size. So we just started collecting. Just a fun hobby, something I enjoy to do with my sons. We go to sneaker shows. I think between the three of us, we have well over 100 pairs, but we don't wear all of them.
Sure.
You got to see some of the collection when Micah did his senior pictures.
Yep.
So I think we should just, show. We'll go one at a time.
That works.
I don't have these in any particular order.
I started collecting shoes more because plants were my thing. Plants are still my thing.
Oh yes, you're a big
But I
plant
ran
person.
out of. Having 115 plants in my house, I've run out of room for plants, and I can make more room for shoes and shoes. So between the two,
I showed you some racks that I just bought for my shoes. It's an inexpensive way.
Yeah.
We have this like man cave that we're working on that will eventually have like some cool shelving to house our shoes, but that's a good option for now. It keeps them off the floor.
Yeah, mine are all on my bookshelf in my office.
Why don't you go first? What pair you got here?
Oh, these bad boys are my fave.
Look at that. Those are shiny.
They are shiny.
Those
I think
are
I wore
shiny.
these for Micah's shoot, actually.
Yes,
I did. These are just, red's like my power color. Like it's just I just feel like a boss when I wear red. And these shoes are just loud and fun.
And how do you have no creases? Like, that's what I don't understand.
Honestly, I don't know because I crouch down to shoot all the time and I wear these all the time and I don't.
The day you were shooting
Honestly,
Micah's, I was watching you crouch down and I was cringing because I'm like, those are just, you're just but those are like perfect condition. We cleaned them up a little bit for you today.
Yeah, and I appreciate that.
But yeah, those are pretty sweet. I could never pull those off. That's definitely.
They're a little loud, but
a little loud for me. But I like the Jordan 1. It's one of my favorite Jordans. I got here, let's see what I got first here. Oh, these are the Jordan 3s.
Oh, those are fun.
These are one of my favorite Jordans. I think in the hierarchy, my favorite is the Jordan 11, then the Jordan 3, Jordan 4s, and the Jordan 1s. These are the Jordan 3s, a classic fire red. It's just a good looking shoe. You can wear it with just about anything.
Yeah.
It's casual, it's comfortable.
You could
I really
totally wear
like
those
it.
with jeans, but you could also throw them on with a suit and it would still work.
Yeah, put on with a suit, put on with some joggers. So it's a very versatile shoe. And it doesn't 100% look like a basketball shoe.
Right.
It's got a little bit of, it's a clean shoe. It's a clean shoe.
Also, fun fact on the whole Jordan situation.
Yes.
23 is like our family number because we got married on the 23rd. Presley was born on the 23rd. We closed on our house on the 23rd. We got our dog on the 23rd. Pretty sure we actually got our cat on the 23rd. Like everything big, like the very first school that I spoke at for the Clarity Concept was on the 23rd. Everything big always happens on 23. So it's just kind of fitting. And also like my tattoo here is my 23 and my husband's writing just because it's just been our number. So
that mine is 24. I was born on the 24th. I have so many significant things in this. I had my first kid when I was 24.
Yeah.
I mean, so many significant things in my life. It's always been that number. Okay, let's see what you got next here.
Number 2. These are my Michigan football shoes.
Some pink. Those are the ones you wore to the Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, these are the ones that I wear to the Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, those are sweet.
Yeah, those are sweet. I don't think I've ever wore these out without somebody being like, "Hey, sweet shoes." Those are
awesome.
These are my fave.
The thing that's nice for you is you can actually wear a youth
boy size.
So you save
seven
a lot
wide,
of money.
Straight up says right inside.
Yeah, I mean, you can probably get your shoes in some cases like $100 or $200 less than what I would have to pay for the same shoe in my size. So that's a nice advantage.
If I can find them on like the sneakers app or from Nike, or like something like that, I can usually get them pretty reasonably priced. But if I have to go like Stadium Goods or go somewhere else and get them after the fact,
anything you have to buy them in store, you're always going to pay more.
Yep.
You're always going to pay more. Well, these are Jordan 4s, same colorway. You said red's your power color, so.
It really is.
So I wear summer. I couldn't wear an all red shoe, but little pops of red. The Bulls were red and black, so the red and black colorway is always the most iconic. But this was Jordan's 4th shoe. These are really uncomfortable.
Are they?
They're so heavy. I mean, to think that
Oh,
people
yeah,
used to
that's
play
true.
basketball in these.
Yeah.
I mean, the basketball shoes now are just
so
ounces.
light, yeah.
This is a really heavy shoe. I think I did play basketball in these, not these exact ones, but this is a really heavy shoe. And I've had these for probably 2 years, and I probably only wore them like 3 times. Because I really like them. They don't look good with everything.
Sure.
But I really like this shoe, and every time I wear these,
They're sharp looking.
people take notice. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really nice shoe.
All right, my last one is if it were me in a shoe, would be my Air
Little
Force
animal
Ones.
print.
I tortoise
Air
everything.
Force Ones.
Tortoise everything. This tortoise.
Oh, it's tortoise. I got you. Okay.
Yeah, tortoise.
Yeah.
You know, kind of resembles leopard print. Whatever is my
As
jam.
Nelly said, I get to step in my Air Force Ones.
I know
Yeah.
every single word to that. You want to hear me rap a song?
Yes, we do.
That's the one. No, it's not happening today. But
We
give
do
me a
wanna
little
hear
champs
that.
and it'll happen. But
Yeah.
yeah, if you want to hear me rap an entire song, that would be the one.
All right. All right. All right, I'm going to save those for last because those are my absolute favorite. I'm not going to show these ones because they're all right. This shoe right here is really, really cool. I'm just going to bring the whole box. No one can hear me talking probably right now. I'm going to bring the whole box. So this is a,
Those are.
see it says
That's
Detroit.
fun. Yeah.
So this was a collab. There was a Detroit sneakerhead. He owns a store down in Detroit. I can't remember the name of it. Something Heat. But he did a collab with Jordan and Nike. He's been working on it for years, and they agreed to do it. And these actually were available on the sneakers app for a day only. But I actually went down to his shop in Detroit, and he had one pair
Amazing.
in the size. Well, these are size 11. I'm really like an 11 and a half or 12, so they're a little tight. But I wear sneakers almost every day,
Sure.
even when I dress up. And so when you're 42 years old and you're trying to be respectable in a boardroom, you shouldn't probably show up with like basketball shoes. Although I do it.
Right.
These I liked because number one, this is an homage to my home state, Michigan,
Sure.
Detroit, and it kind of looks more like a dress shoe. So you see the cool paper's got Detroit
Yeah.
map. But this is an Air Jordan 2,
Those are sweet.
which is probably like I said earlier, one of my favorite. And it's a low top. The basketball shoe was a mid.
Sure.
And it looks just like this, but they not mid as the way the kids say it, but the height, But you can actually wear this as kind of like almost like a
Yeah, a dress
dressier
shoe.
shoe,
Yeah,
casual
for sure.
shoe. So everything here is represented something Michigan, like the red and blue is an homage to the Pistons.
Sure.
This is the Detroit Tigers original. They always were white. They always used to be like a cream color. These like translucent, this is funny, but this translucent brown is actually an homage to the Flint water crisis. So it's a little interesting.
yeah.
But yeah, just really, really cool. Super, super uncomfortable. Probably because they're too tight on me.
Sure.
But I really, really like these, and they're rare. Not a lot of people have these.
Yeah,
and so
those
I
are
really
sweet.
like those. And then last but not least, these are probably my favorites. You'll be able to tell by how much they've been worn.
I think I've seen you wear those a time or two.
Little pop of red
Yep.
for you again. These are called the Smoke Grays,
Mm-hmm.
and this was the first pair of Jordan 1s that I ever bought.
Okay.
Because I was never really like a huge Jordan 1 fan, and
Sure.
everybody seems to wear Jordan 1s.
Yeah.
Now I have like 5 or 6 pairs. I really like them more and more. But I like these because I like this subtle gray. You
Yeah.
know, I can't pull off the bright colors like you. I don't have the bright personality. But it had a little pop of red, and I just think it's a really good looking shoe.
They're sharp.
Like I said, it's pretty worn because I've worn them a lot. Lots of creasing. Which, people that are sneakerheads are,
Cringing.
gasping right
Yeah,
now.
right.
So yeah, I like it. It's a fun. Oh, the other reason I like these is for my 40th birthday. My wife had heard me talk about these, but she doesn't know much about sneakers.
Sure.
But my son said these are the ones Dad really likes. So my kids and my wife, all of them put their money together.
Oh, that's
pitched in and
so
got me
sweet.
these for my 40th birthday. So I really, really like those.
That is sweet.
So yeah, it's a fun thing to do. It's a fun little hobby.
Yeah. It's my favorite when I
Expensive.
randomly look at my phone and you've sent me a pair of shoes and I was like, he knows. He
Yeah.
knows the kind of shoes that I like.
Yeah. When I see a pair that I'm like, oh, these are available in a size, 2.3 or whatever you wear, like that you can get these ones. So I get just excited when friends buy sneakers is when I
Same,
buy
yeah.
them. It's always fun to enjoy, but it's an expensive hobby.
It is an expensive
So
hobby.
I promised my wife I wouldn't buy any more sneakers till Christmas unless they're for the kids. So I'm trying to live
Same.
by that. But
Yeah.
there was a drop today at 10
I haven't.
that I really have had a hard time not participating
Yeah.
in. But
I understand that.
yeah.
My sister's been very impressed with my self-control because between the new studio and then Christmas coming up, she's like, no more shoes. And I was like, are we sure? Are we sure? So she got some for Christmas and my daughter got some for Christmas and we'll see what else happens.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little about your journey.
Okay.
All right. How you became who you are today, the
Sure.
woman that you are today. So born and raised here in Michigan.
Yeah, I was born in Owasso, grew up in New Lothrop.
You were born here in Owasso? Mm-hmm. Did you go to school in Owasso?
Nope, went to school in New Lothrop.
Okay. Hornets.
Yep.
Is that what they're called?
Yep, New Lothrop Hornets. Tiny little town, but I wouldn't have it any other
is.
way.
Yeah.
That's where my daughter goes. I mean, we're technically out of district, but I drive her to school every day. So yeah, grew up there. I did a year at SVSU, which I loved, and then transferred from there, and then worked on and off different jobs. I worked full time.
Yeah, let's talk about some of the jobs.
Oh, let's see. I worked at H&R Block for a minute.
Really, I cannot see that. You had to be bored out of your mind.
I was like the front desk, so I just scheduled stuff, and it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't fun.
You knew it wasn't the end.
Yeah. I worked actually here in Owasso for years. I worked for CSH Incorporated, my uncle's company. They're an electric motor distributor. So I worked there for a long time. And then I left there and went to a plant in Grand Blanc. I was production control for a plant for a while. And I did that and photography full time back and forth. And then I think I hit the point where I had a wedding schedule on a Friday and I tried to take the day off and they told me no. And I'm like, listen, I'm doing you a courtesy by asking for the day off months in advance, but I don't want to have to call in, but
I will.
I have contracts signed. So I'm not going to not show up because you're just being stubborn. So at that point I realized I can't juggle. And there I was working every other weekend. So I realized I can't do it all. So that's when I quit there and I worked part-time for a little bit. And then I've been doing this full-time now for 7 years. So yeah.
That's how long we've been doing it full time. So
Yeah.
pretty cool. So you said you were going to college for marketing.
Yep. Marketing management is what my
Did
degree
you
is
know
in.
what you wanted to do? Why did you pick marketing? You just knew you wanted to do something creative?
Yeah,
or-
yeah, just something creative, something. I mean, when I was in high school, I went to Baker. I dual enrolled, and I did a graphic design program at Baker, and I really enjoyed that, which worked in my favor because when I went to SVSU, I immediately got a job on campus, and I was making the amount of money that they're paying me to work on campus to do like a web design job was wild, especially being a freshman in college back then when I think minimum wage was $5.25 or something, and them hiring me in making like $14 an hour or something was just crazy.
Yeah, you made it.
Yeah. So I mean, it was just as close to something that sounded somewhat appealing as I could come up with.
I always think it's crazy, and this is unpopular probably, but we push kids to go to college right out of high school and spend, in some cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars when they're not even sure what they want to do.
Which is why I created the clarity concept when I did.
Most adults, parents have not prepared their kids to think about what's the next 5 years of your life look like after high school. What does 10 years look like? Vision planning, which I've tried to do to help my kids. And then we have these kids go spend all this money, get into massive debt. They go get educated, and so many people don't even use their degree.
Yep.
And this idea that everyone should go to college, I don't buy it. I don't like it.
Nope.
And there is a value to college beyond the academics. Like my son,
Sure.
my son wants to work here, and he wants to eventually take over the business.
Sure.
Way down the road. And I told him, if you're going to work for me, you're going to go away from home for a year, somewhere far enough away where mom can't do your laundry.
Correct.
And you're
Force
going
you to grow up a little bit.
You're going to pay for it yourself, and and we could use his help around here, but I know for him, he needs to go explore to see maybe there's something else that I want.
Sure.
And the podcast is called No Easy Way Out because I don't want my kids to take the easy way out. It's easy, I'll just work for dad and I have to do my own hustle and and I'm going to make it as hard for him as possible because I know it will help him.
Yep.
And sometimes we make things too easy for our kids.
For sure.
Because we love them and we want them to have the things we didn't have, but the things that we didn't have made us the people we are. So it's okay sometimes for kids to go without. And
and to struggle a little bit. And
I get on these parenting rants sometimes. But
I feel it. Well, and that's also why when I was here last time, we talked about the clarity concept, which after COVID happened and schools were shut down and everything else, that kind of got to the back burner. But that's a plan once the new studio is up, is to turn that whole program into an online course for juniors and seniors. Because it's one of those things. It's like these kids have this idea in their head that we just got to go make all kinds of money. Well, I'm going to do this because I'll make all kinds of money. Okay, great. But what happens when you get there and you realize that you absolutely hate it? Is the money worth it? Or what will you even do if you had $1 million? What would you actually do with that money that you think you want so badly?
Right.
It goes back to the things that you're passionate about and the things that you can talk about for hours and the things that, spark joy and the things that, interest you, not the things that, just sound like a good idea.
That pad the bank account.
Right.
Because, what happens is people They say 94% of Americans hate their job. So people get in this vicious cycle. They go work a job that they hate
Yep.
to pay for the things that they think will make them happy.
Right.
Only to realize those things don't make
Not-
them
right.
happy. But then they have to continue to work the job they hate to pay for the things that didn't make them happy. And then they just
It's just
stay
a
in
vicious
this,
cycle. Yeah.
And so they just do it until they can retire, and then they go up north, and and it's so many people are unhappy,
Right.
and so I try to encourage my kids, everyone was put here for a reason. What is your purpose? What is your
Yep.
plan? Obviously, we're very religious people. I hate
Sure.
to use the word religious, but
Yeah.
we're Christian people, so part of our thing is, what does God have for your life? What is
Yeah.
His plan for your life? And trying to help them through that process, because man, when I was 18, I had
No clue.
no idea.
Well,
you know?
and my husband's a prime example. I mean, his dad owns an HVAC company, and he grew up from the time he could pretty much walk, helping his dad, and he worked there all through high school. And he went to college for economics and finance and business communications. He double majored in 4 years at Albion to go into, granted he graduated in '08, right before everything crashed and,
Jeez.
whatever. So he tried and struggled, found jobs, but he realized, like, I can't sit at a desk all day.
Yeah.
And went back in HVAC, and he was in that industry for 10 years before he finally just transferred to something else. But it's like the skilled trades, like,
Yeah.
they're so needed. And some of these kids are not meant to work in an office. Like,
Right.
and that's okay.
Okay, yeah.
So-
if you enjoy building houses, go build
Right,
houses.
right.
If you enjoy manual labor, like my brother-in-law, the dude loves manual labor. He loves building things, tearing things down, cleaning messes up.
Yeah.
There's no shame in that at all. Like, do what you. So he's happy doing what he loves, and even
Right.
though other people might look at your line of work and say, I wouldn't want to do that, or I don't like. Doesn't matter. I mean, I
Right.
think happiness is very underrated.
For sure. It's funny. I had a conversation with one of my newborn. I had a newborn session yesterday, and I went to high school with both of them. They graduated a few years below me, but we were talking about how now that we're in our 30s, we realize, like, while our career is still important, it's not the end all be all. And, like, while having certain things is important, that's not what it's about anymore.
Right.
Like, you realize really quick, like, what things are important. Like, they live like an hour away from family, and they realize how badly they want to be back home with family, because that's how much, that's
Yeah.
so much more important than being close to things to do and everything else. Like, obviously, as you change and grow, your priorities change, but kind of making kids realize that
Yeah.
before it's too late. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And my happiness, my ultimate happiness, is not attached to things.
Correct.
And it's not even attached to this thing, like
Right.
AZ Business Solutions
Sure.
or our print shop. If I lost all of this stuff tomorrow,
Yep.
like I made a huge mistake or somebody ripped me off and it's gone, I genuinely believe I would still be happy, and I would just find something else
Yeah.
to do, or I would
Adapt.
fight for it, or like my life would not be ruined. I don't
Right.
I don't have a hard time sleeping at night because I don't worry like, well, what if it all fails, or what
Yeah.
if, I always say I'm never going to fail because I won't quit.
Right.
But I genuinely, like, this is not what makes me happy.
Right.
Now, I get moments of real, like, genuine
serotonin
happiness.
boost, yeah.
Yeah, from the things that we do, seeing a client see their dream,
Yeah.
of a new logo come true, or
Sure.
their business thriving. And we love that. We get super excited about it. But at the end of the day, like, what this business allows me to do, be with my family and be
Right.
involved in my church, those are the things that make me happy. And so I think you have to determine what makes you happy.
Right.
Be honest with yourself, not
Sure.
what you think your parents will make your parents happy or your
Right.
friends happy, but what makes you happy. Can you turn that into a career?
Sure.
Maybe, maybe not. If you can't turn that specific thing into a career, find a job that gives you the ability to do that more often.
Sure. It's
So-
funny. There was a thing floating around Facebook or Instagram not too long ago about how, like, why can't we normalize this instead of the hustle? And it's like, I hustle my butt off, but it's not because I necessarily want to, but it's because I don't want to say I'm paying my dues, but I'm trying to build a life and build the things that I want to make my life easier at some point, Like,
Yeah.
there's the grind isn't forever. Like, this isn't
No.
going to be a forever thing, but I'm going to do it while I can to set myself up later for, other things. So the stigma between, like, oh, you don't have to work so hard, but you do. Like, that's
right.
just that's just the lazy mentality of, like, nothing comes easy. Nothing's going to be given to you. It's not. I don't. It's
Yeah.
just one of those things that, like, makes me cringe.
Yeah.
Because they post it and it's like, here I am hustling, but at the same time, I love it. So it works for me, but it's surely it's not for everybody. But at the same time, you're not gonna get anywhere just
Right.
sitting. And
Well, that's the difference between the week-to-week mindset
Sure.
and the vision mindset.
Sure.
So like I have a vision for my life of where I want to be in the next 5 years, where I want to be in the next 10 years. So when I have these pockets of like, okay, like right now I know that November, December, January, February are going to be brutal.
Sure.
I'm not going to sleep a lot. I'm not going to have downtime. I'm not going to have a lot of, extra free time.
Sure.
I'm not going to get caught up on my favorite shows. Like none of that's going to happen over the next 4 months. And I can push through that with almost ease.
Yep.
Because I see where it's taking me.
Right.
It's a push. We're doing a building project. I'm coaching basketball right now for my kids, which is not an option to not do because that gives me time with those kids.
Sure.
It's a non-negotiable in my life. And we're trying to do a bunch of expansion here at AZ. We've implemented a whole new system and we're trying to bring on new people. So that means like my focus is going to be kind of here, but I can see like this small pocket of just, I'm going to push.
Yep.
I'm not going to sleep. I'm not going to get to do certain things. It's okay because I have vision. I'm not thinking about, am I going to be able to, I'm not living in the week-to-week mindset. Like, did I do enough this week to go out on the weekend?
Right.
Did I do enough this week to be able to, hang out with my friends
Right.
or go out to dinner? Like, my mind's not even thinking that.
Right.
So people have to get to a point where they see vision in their life.
Yep.
Where are you going?
Right.
What's the long term?
Right.
And it doesn't have to be 20 years down the road.
No.
Where are you going to be in a year?
Sure.
What do you want to be doing?
Well, and that's my biggest thing is write down your goals. Like you need to know what you're working towards. Like you can't wish for something else and not have any clue what you're actually wishing for. Like
Right.
if you want change, you have to do something about it. That's
Yep.
my biggest frustration is when somebody complains about something over and over again. I'm like, well, what are you doing to change it? If you're
Right.
not doing anything about it, I'm such a, I don't want to say a fixer, but I'm such like a, well, this is an issue, then say
Right.
something to somebody,
Do it.
do something about it. Like,
Right.
why
Don't
are
be
we
a
just
victim.
sitting on it? Yeah,
Don't be a
exactly.
victim.
And with work, with, relationships, with anything, like you can't just sit back and expect things to fix themselves or change themselves. Like it's a continuous work in progress type situation.
You get out what you put into anything. It's
absolutely.
Anything. So
Absolutely.
if you put minimal effort into it, you're going to get minimal back.
Right.
And so again, for me, and this is one of the things, like I said, I try to help my kids with and young people is get that vision for
Yeah.
your life. Where do you want to go? And again, for our lives, it's where does God want me to be? Where is he leading me? There's a verse in the Bible I love that says, where there is no vision, the people perish. Meaning like you can't make it without, you can't get to the next step. And so really sitting down and thinking about what's next. And it will change.
For sure.
And that's all right. Be adaptable.
Yep.
What I wanted today is probably not exactly what I wrote down 5 years ago, but a lot of it is. A lot of it's
Sure.
had to change. You learn new things. You
Yeah.
grow up. You fail. You mess up.
Opportunities come up that you don't expect.
Exactly.
Sure.
And so you adapt to it, but the vision, kind of stays the same. So, well, I'm certain over, 12 years of business, being an entrepreneur, 7 years of doing it on your own, this is your this is your income. This is
Yeah.
your career. I'm certain you've picked up some things along the way that, would help people. We said that you said earlier something, the average tenure of a photographer is 4 to
yeah.
5 years.
Yeah.
They say 50% of businesses fail. When I hear that, I hear 50% of businesses succeed.
Yeah.
But, certainly you've probably picked up some things that might help someone that maybe they're doing a business and they're thinking about, hanging it up. Maybe they're thinking about starting a business. Maybe they're in the middle of it and they're having a hard time. What are some things you think that would help people in those situations?
I feel like my word of the year going into next year, because there's always like one word that like sticks with me each year, but it's experience. Creating an experience for people, because you can go anywhere and get your photos taken. You can go anywhere and have somebody make you a website. But what does that experience look like for you?
Right.
What do you want that to be? What do you want your clients to remember about them coming to shop with you or coming to you for a service or whatever? It's creating an experience that will make them want to come back for whatever it is.
Right.
And that's been a big thing for me that I've really been focusing on for my wedding clients for next year. And, with the new studio coming and, all of my clients in general is how can I make their experience better? Because I'm already on to next year and what next year is going to look like. You were talking about, knowing that the next 4 or 5 months is going to be crazy. I'm right in the middle of that, nearing the end. Like a few more weeks and then I can breathe for a second as
Right.
Christmas gets close and kind of, I don't really have a slow season anymore like I used to, but it's not as chaotic, which was the plan with the studio, hopefully being completed in February so we can get it open so that way by next summer it's up running and we can start implementing new things. But it's creating an experience. Like that's a big thing, is creating an experience for people.
Excellent advice. So in your opinion, I know we've talked a little bit about this, but what do you think it is, some of the key factors, or maybe a key factor you've identified that sets successful people apart from unsuccessful? And you know, everyone's definition of success is different.
Sure.
To me, success does not mean how much money you have in your
Right.
bank account. I think you have to define individually what
Sure.
success is to you. I'm certain that my definition of success is way different than a lot of people's.
Sure.
But obviously there is a measure of businesses that succeed and businesses that fail.
Yeah.
What do you think are some of the factors that, you know, are the difference between
I
those
think
people?
mindset is huge. I think that if you get out of bed every day and are like, oh, I have to go to work, you're going to hate I mean, sure, you have days where you don't want to get out of bed, but if your mindset sucks about life in general, nothing is going to be better. Like
Right.
you have to have the right mindset going into it. And you have to also be able to talk yourself out of those bad days, because they're going to be there, but like we talked about before, you can't let that creep in. Can you have a bad day? Yes. Can you feel all those bad feelings? Absolutely. Don't discount those feelings that you're feeling, but also you have to know how to talk yourself through and be able to push yourself through, because not every day is a cakewalk.
Not every day is a cakewalk.
No.
Get your mind right. Absolutely. It is a mindset. You know, a lot of it's mental.
Yeah.
A lot of it is mental.
Yeah.
People, you know, we just started doing basketball, and, you know, I have a gentleman that's coaching with me that played college ball, knows the game in and out.
Sure.
Probably way better than I do as far as the X's and O's of the game.
Sure.
But I understand like the psychology of teenage boys and how to get the most out of them.
Yeah.
And my first 2 weeks of practice is very little to do with actual basketball skill.
Yeah.
And it's breaking them down to understand that they can do more than they realize. They can
Right.
run more than they thought they could. They can do more push-ups than they
Yep.
thought they could. They can, you know, go another lap. I mean, just all the things that we're doing is just trying to change their mindset to realize,
Right.
okay, we want to cut down the nets at the end of the year. That's the goal. But if we're ever going to get there, we got to have this internal battle with ourselves that we
Yep.
say, you know what, I thought I was tired and I wanted to quit, but I got a little bit more in me.
Sure.
And I think a lot of people fail because they get to that part where it gets hard or difficult and they're like, I can't go anymore. I gave it
Right.
all that I had. And I think I heard a quote that someone said, most people don't realize how close to success they were when they quit,
For sure.
because that little extra push sometimes it was enough
All
to
it
just get
needs.
you over the
Yep.
hill. And then it's like you start getting momentum and you're just like
Yep.
rolling down, and I can't keep up with this thing. And
Right.
So
I think all that started for me. I ran cross country in high school, and our coaches were phenomenal. And we would do a cross country camp in the summer, and we would start that camp out, and we could all barely run a mile. And by the time the end of that week rolled by, we were running 7, 8, 9 miles,
Yeah.
no problem. And it's like, it wasn't a matter of if our bodies were capable, because they absolutely clearly were, but it was a matter of, could we mentally get ourselves to that point when we started out thinking like, there's no way we're gonna be able to finish a mile at the beginning of this. And
Right.
by the end of the week, we're like, hey, let's go on the crim, you know?
It's one of the things I love about sports is because, you know, it's just a game at the end of the day. It's not life, but there are so many life lessons that
Absolutely.
can be learned if sports is in its proper perspective. You
Sure.
know, it can certainly be out of balance. There are coaches that take it way too far
Sure.
and, you know, make it life. There are players that take it too far, but, you know, it can be utilized as such a great tool to teach life lessons of teamwork, fighting for a bigger cause, pushing yourself to do more, giving
Sure.
your all, not quitting, all of those things. And so that's the part I love about coaching. And it's created some of the best memories I've ever had with my boys. And I'm actually now helping coach my girls team this year,
Oh, fun.
which is the first time I've ever coached girls, and it is different.
Oh, it's a whole different world.
If boys cry in my practice, like we publicly shame them and make them run and humiliate them and call them mama's boys, and like it's like they're more afraid to
That's-
cry. They'll
That's
fight back the
that's-
tears.
That's motivation for them.
Right,
if
they'll
anything.
fight back the tears just to not get the public humiliation.
Yeah,
People
girls
might say
not so
that's
much.
insensitive, but that's good for a boy. No, there's reasons to cry, but because you ran too many laps is not
Yeah.
a reason to cry.
Yeah.
But girls, like, I mean, I've had, in 2 weeks, we've had a dozen girls cry. And I'm like, what are you crying about?
Yeah.
They get to that point where, like, they can't run anymore. And instead of, like, just stopping, they just start crying.
And
you know?
but they still keep going.
Or they
but
miss
just cry
5 or
a little
6 shots, and then they
Yeah.
just start crying. And it's like, so I'm the head coach. He's like, just let it pass. Don't draw attention to it.
Yep.
Let her work it out. She's
Yep.
not quitting. She's still going. There's tears, but I'm like, all right. So I'm trying to figure it out. It is definitely a different experience, and I don't know if I'm built for it, honestly, because like I'm just like ready to go run a lap, like you know.
It's a
but
whole different world.
It's a whole different world. Okay, so we have this segment here. Do you have your phone?
I do.
I'm gonna send you a picture.
Okay.
It's called Explain That Post.
Oh boy.
And I'll tell you, you are a photographer, so you don't have like pictures on your social medias. Like we did a deep dive, like look through your social media, trying to find like something incriminating.
Of me?
And you just, it's just not there. Like there's just, you know, you
I
always
just had to text Haley.
You always
She has
got the
all of
right
them.
lighting. You always got the right, you know. So we couldn't find a lot of incriminating posts, but I have a couple here that I wanted to share that I thought just need a little more context. So this picture right here, this shows up. This shows up like every third post is this room. Maybe not that
For a
much,
hot
but
minute. Yeah, for
like this room shows up on your feed with different angles and different things a lot. And there's always different captions. Some of them are something about, it's just a quote. Some of them are about the room.
Sure.
What is this room and why is it so important to you?
This is my plant room. This room
It is very green.
this is what got me through COVID. I mean, I'd had plants before, but this room on the front of our house is like a greenhouse room. It's got the greenhouse windows. And when we first moved in, it was like a playroom. It was my office for a minute. It was literally a catch-all where it caught all the things. And then COVID happened. And I was like, you know what? It's time to like put my energy somewhere else besides sitting on this couch and just staring at the TV. So it became a whole thing. And plants have they bring me so much joy. It's fun to like watch things grow and watch things evolve. And looking at this picture, which I don't even know, this had to have been from maybe end of last summer.
Yeah, I went way
Because
back.
looking
I'm
at-
thinking like if I can find the old stuff.
Yeah.
You got a lot of stuff on this.
Oh, yeah.
I stopped. By the time I got to like 2018, I'm like, I'm not going any deeper. We're gonna look at the rooms here. Tell me about the room.
Yeah, so that's my plant room. It's I read in there. I actually get ready in there now because with my husband, his work schedule, I get ready and so I'm not waking him up. And oh boy.
All right. Well, I have this one too. So this one has the caption, "Bringing back the trend I never wanted to leave." You got the big old bell bottoms there.
Yeah, and this was like.
You're looking like you're second right out of Saturday Night Fever.
And the funny thing is this is from what, a year or two ago?
Well, let's see if there's a date on there. I don't see it.
Flares are, I mean.
They're coming back.
They are, well, yeah, they're back now, but this was like.
This was before.
I remember when I wore them.
You were a part of bringing it back.
Yeah, Haley
Take
was
the
like,
credit.
please take them off. I was like, I never will. I will wear them. However, I do remember the most annoying part of them is now with this type of, like this season is the bottoms of the pants getting soaking wet and, you know, that whole thing. But
well, my son Isaiah, who you're going to do his senior pictures here soon.
Yeah.
He hates bell bottoms, like men or women. And I said, son, they will come back.
They
no
will.
way, that will
Yeah.
never come back.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, they've come back like 3 times. They
Yeah.
will come back. So
Yep.
maybe when you do it, you got to do some. Maybe these specific bell bottoms.
I have about a dozen of them, so I can make sure that happens. Yeah.
So, all right. So we have 2 more segments in the show. One is called "Say It in 60." We're
Okay.
going to do that now. Then we're going to move on to our Whisper Challenge, which is everybody's favorite.
I have no idea what that is, but okay.
You haven't seen the Whisper
I
Challenge?
haven't seen the Whisper
Okay, so
Challenge.
we'll tell you all about that. But right now, we're gonna do the explain that. Or we're gonna do the Say It in 60, where we take this last 1 minute. We're gonna give you 10 rapid fire questions to
Okay.
try to draw out the last ounces of wisdom that are
boy.
in that brain of Nicole Jenrow. And if you win, if you get all the questions right in 60 seconds, then that's it. You just win.
I just
and
win.
if you lose,
Okay.
then you're a loser.
I'm a loser.
sorry,
That's
but
fine too. Okay, cool.
you go home with clean shoes. How about that?
For the win.
And then doesn't matter what you say because they're your answers. You just
Sure.
got to get them in 60 seconds. So these guys have a timer. Are we ready? 60 seconds.
Okay.
Timer starts now. What is a must-read book?
When We Were Mermaids.
What is a daily habit everyone should do?
Gratitude.
What is your favorite podcast?
This one. Or Ghost in the Burbs. Between the two.
There's a close tie.
Yes, yes.
Michigan or Michigan State?
Michigan.
What is your why?
My family.
Apple or Android?
Apple.
Favorite quote?
The Serenity Prayer.
Right? Do you know it?
Yeah. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
You and Carl Mankey.
Yeah.
All right. What is a must-binge TV series?
The Kingdom.
Not that 70s show?
I mean-
How much time we got? 20 seconds to tell our audience, what is success to you?
Creating the life that brings me happiness and joy and can still provide for my family, but still being able to spend quality time with them. Like, that's my version of success.
Awesome. With 10 seconds to spare, Nicole Jenrow is the winner today.
I can talk fast.
All right, so
It's a
now
gift.
we are going to move on to our Whisper Challenge.
Okay.
We got this idea from the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. We've been
Okay.
doing this
I
with
love
all of our
Jimmy
guests.
Fallon.
It's fun. So we're going to put a set of headphones on you. We're going to go
boy.
back and forth. We're going to blare some music.
Okay.
I'm assuming probably some Miranda Lambert because that's what you said. And then I'm going to say a phrase,
Okay.
and you got to try to guess what I'm saying.
Oh boy.
And then we're going to switch, and you're going to say the phrase, and you got to guess what I'm saying. We'll do this
Okay.
2 or 3 times, and really it's just about making fun content. That's all
Sure.
it is. So we'll have fun with it. Are we ready, gentlemen?
Okay, so how does this work now? What am I doing?
So we'll give you the headphones first.
Okay.
I'm gonna say a phrase to you.
Okay.
Right. While you have the headphones on. So he's gonna blare the music on. Hold on. And then you gotta guess what I'm saying.
Oh boy.
Crank those babies loud, Zach.
I don't like this.
Is the music playing? Is the music playing? Oh, is the music playing? Yes. Okay.
Is the music playing or not?
Okay.
Okay. All right. Can you hear me? Okay.
I got nothing.
Here we go. Here we go. Ready? Corey and Topanga.
One more time.
Corey and Topanga.
I got nothing. My ADHD brain can't handle this.
One more time. Corey. Corey and Topanga. Topanga. No guess?
I got nothing. I got nothing.
Last one. One more time. Corey and Topanga.
Congratulations, Corey and Topanga.
I showed her the answer because she had no guesses. All right.
My brain could not. Whew.
Too many things happening?
Yeah. Overstimulation.
All right. Let's see what Zach's got for me.
Like really good at it, or like
Oh yeah, no, I couldn't even like focus to read his lips. I was just so.
California dreaming.
Everything big happens on the 23rd. He's got nothing.
Okay, I'm ready.
Oh,
that's like the longest thing you could
okay, we'll do the other one. Photography is totally awesome. Oh, wear sneakers every day.
It's a long phrase. How many words?
4 words.
4 words.
Wear
Winter,
sneakers
Sears,
every
every
day.
day. Something every day.
Wear sneakers every
Winter.
Wear.
We're
Wear. Yeah.
Wear every day. Wear sneakers every day.
Yay!
Oh man.
That was that.
Little Dr.
brutal.
Dre.
Yeah, whichever one is like 10 words, just give me that.
Dude, those are way
They
better.
all-
Those headphones are way better. We were using the wired ones. We got these for this because they're actually noise canceling.
Yeah, they are.
It is hard.
Or we could change it for this one.
I think this is good.
Mystery box.
Let me see. I'll compare the two. And we can do 3 rounds.
No, we can't. My brain can't handle that.
All right, I'm gonna do a version of this one. Go ahead and throw the headphones on.
Oh boy.
California knows how to party. You gotta play the Nelly song.
What a song.
Air Force Ones. All right.
Yeah.
Sneaker heads.
How many words? 2 words, okay?
I can hear Miranda Lambert. Okay.
I can hear something. 2 words, okay?
Sneaker heads.
One more time.
Sneaker heads.
Sneakerhead.
Yeah, all right. Oh, it's just the sneakerheads in the building. But I knew she wouldn't.
No
she
way.
wouldn't get the whole phrase.
I can't lip read to save my life. All right. This one again. I can hear it.
Little air guitar.
Yeah. Are you ready? 4 words.
4 words. Man, the long phrases today.
Yeah. Photography.
Oh, charades. Photography.
Is.
Photography
Is. Totally.
solely
Close enough. Awesome. Awesome.
Okay, do it again. Photography is solely
Totally. Totally awesome.
solely is solely right?
No.
No, okay. Photography is
I wish they understood how loud he is. Totally.
Tony?
Closer.
Photography is Tony? That can't be right.
Totally. Totally. How do I?
Photography is
Totally.
totally
Awesome.
photography is totally awesome.
There we go.
You got one more in you?
No.
That's it? All right.
No.
All right. Well, Nicole, thank you for being a sport on that.
Oh my gosh, you're welcome.
You know, we'll play some Air Force Ones for you on another
There we go.
episode.
Next time. Yeah.
But before we go,
Okay.
I want to have you look into that camera. Tell our audience where they can find Nicole Jenrow, where they can find Details and Daydreams, what you have to offer, and plug away.
You can find me on Facebook at Details and Daydreams, detailsanddaydreams.com, which will probably be changing at some point, but that's for another day. On Instagram at Details and Daydreams, my personal shenanigans at Nick Jenrow. Email me, text me, call me, whatever's easiest.
Those are the digits. Well,
Yeah.
thanks for coming on the show today.
Thank you for
We
having
had
me. It was so much fun.
Thanks for sharing your sneakers with us.
Thank you
Thanks
for cleaning
sharing
my
your
sneakers.
life experience. Thank you to your husband, AJ, for saving her from the 20-foot fall. Yeah. Yes, we wouldn't be here today without
Nope.
him. So, and thank you all for watching. As my mother always said, you can't and never could until you tried. So go out there and try something great, my friends, and don't take the easy way out. We'll see you next time.